Good day, I'm Carrie Ann Smith, and this is your GIS News for Friday, February 6. More than 3.5 million tourists visited Jamaica in 2014, 230,000 more than in 2013. Tourism Minister Dr. Wickham McNeil says the country recorded steady growth in both cruise shipping and stopover arrivals.
We saw growth out of all of our main markets. Stopover arrivals out of Europe grew by 10.7%, while arrivals out of Canada increased by 5.2%. Stopover arrivals out of the US grew by 2% overall, with an increase of 5.4% out of the West and 5.6% out of the South. The inflow of visitors from Asia also increased by 9.2%.
The minister was speaking at Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing in Montego Bay. He also revealed that gross tourism earnings for the year were estimated to be in excess of $2.2 billion, a 5.8% increase over the same period in 2013. The Ministry of Finance and Planning will be completing the necessary paperwork by the end of this fiscal year to ensure that Jamaica gains access to $1.8 billion in grant funding. Co-chairman of the Economic Program Oversight Committee, Richard Biles, made the disclosure amidst concerns that tax revenues for April to December 2014 were $9.7 billion below target. For December 2014, revenues and grants also fell by $3.4 billion, and expenditure was $2.5 billion above target.
The expenditure side, it was explained to us, has to do with the health sector rationalization or reclassification program, which is in its third year. So apparently payments were made in December.
In the meantime, Tax Administration Jamaica has indicated that tax collections for the month of January were on target. Now that approval has been given for new projects to increase baseload electricity supply to the national grid, the Electricity Sector Enterprise Team ESET says it will be looking at how to keep prices low for consumers. ESET Chairman Dr. Vincent Lawrence says the due diligence will continue with its multilateral partners, and the approved projects will be benchmarked with global standards and key performance indicators.
We had asked the World Bank for assistance, and they are doing some work on this for us to help us to be sure that we are setting the framework for the next 20-30 years of our electricity sector.
Dr. Lawrence says a best practice review of the energy sector should be completed within 4 to 6 months. Justice Minister Senator Mark Golding has responded to concerns about how a Rastafarian is to be defined under the Ganja Law Reform Bill that's now before the Senate. While speaking at a GIS think tank this Tuesday, Minister Golding pointed out that legislation and private bills passed over the years to establish various churches have never attempted to define an individual's religious faith.
I don't think it would be a good idea, and it's not the norm.
The legislation now being debated by the Senate gives recognition to persons of the Rastafarian faith and exempts them from penalty for the cultivation and use of ganja as a sacrament. But the Justice Minister says the reform does not soften government's stance on illegal drugs and related criminal activities.
It doesn't apply as an exemption for dealing in ganja or any of the commercial aspects which are still unlawful in relation to ganja.
Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson is urging parents to ensure their children are fully immunized for their age. The minister's appeal comes as the United States and Mexico deal with a measles outbreak. He says that while Jamaica has been very successful in eliminating local transmission of certain vaccine-preventable diseases, the health ministry is always mindful of the need to remain vigilant. Dr. Ferguson points out that compulsory vaccines are still being offered at no cost for children in the public health sector.
We recognize that even with the no user fee policy, and long before the no user fee policy, the vaccine in the public sector was always given free and continue to be so. And therefore, there is no encumbrance relative to payments that one will have to find in order to get their children vaccinated.
Minister Ferguson is also appealing to schools, especially at the early childhood level, to be vigilant and to seek to ensure children are fully immunized for their age. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller has commended the University of the West Indies for a new $4 billion teaching and research complex. Established at the UWI Monash Faculty of Medical Sciences, it houses the university's new dental program. Mr. Simpson Miller says the complex will enhance the national and regional capacity for scientific technology and knowledge.
This is a major investment, not only in the future of the university, and the faculty, but also in the human capital of Jamaica and the Caribbean region.
And finally, the Prime Minister has responded to the death of wheelchair-bound Marlon King, who was struck by a bus on Tuesday. At the National Road Safety Council's first meeting of the year, Mr. Simpson Miller asserted that all road users had a responsibility to look out for others using the streets, especially the disabled. To increase awareness, the Prime Minister asked the Council to ramp up its education and enforcement campaign. And that's it for GIS News Today. I'm Kerry Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.